It was just about I seen potential, and when you see, you can see potential in people, but then that's when I saw way more than just potential. You know what I mean? When Drake music was brought to me from the homie Jazz, my bro, it was about rap, and I was like, this dude sound different.
You know what? I've gotten so much closer to Wayne lately. Wayne is his own person. He's a businessman, and whatever decision Wayne makes, I would never in my life speak against it publicly.
It seems like everyone who used to be close to Drake is now turning their backs on him, including his old Young Money crew. Remember the days when Lil Wayne, Nicki Minaj, and Drake were the ultimate Young Money dream team? Their bond went beyond just making music together. Wayne and Drake were as close as brothers, and Drake's relationship with Nicki was so tight that many thought they were more than just friends. Even when the going got tough, Wayne and Nicki stood by Drake's side, supporting him while the rest of the industry seemed to abandon him. But here's the catch: Drake didn't exactly return the loyalty. Drake made some questionable choices, like getting involved with Wayne's girlfriend while Wayne was in prison, cozying up to Meek Mill after Nicki accused him of assault, and associating with Nicki's rap rivals. And just when things couldn't get messier, Drake suddenly released 100 gigabytes of content, including a collaboration with Nicki's nemesis, Lotto. Even though Nicki didn't join the anti-Drake crowd during his beef with Kendrick Lamar, choosing not to add to his troubles, this is how Drake repays her. Fans are now putting the pieces together and speculating that if Drake is having issues with so many people, perhaps he's the common denominator in these falling outs. But what really happened that led Wayne and Nicki to distance themselves from Drake? How exactly did Drake betray his Young Money family? Let's unpack the details.
My loyalty obviously lies with the people who gave me the platform, my first shot. So that's really where that line comes from, despite, how things may have ended up. I'm always so grateful for those three people.
Let's start with the Lil Wayne situation, because there's talk that Wayne might be siding with Kendrick Lamar in his beef with Drake. Wayne and Drake go way back to the early 2010s when they, along with Nicki Minaj, were hip-hop's holy trinity, dropping hit after hit under the Cash Money Young Money label. At that time, Drake and Wayne were incredibly close, with Drake constantly praising Wayne.
Who has been your favorite artist to work with and why?
Oh, I have to say, I can't say one person. I gotta say, yeah, I gotta say there's three people that I have to say. Wayne is my favorite person to work with though, because it's just, Little Wayne, he's just too good.
You gotta give Wayne the love.
He's just too good.
However, things took a sharp turn in 2010 when Wayne was sentenced to a year in prison after pleading guilty to a weapons possession charge. Wayne ended up serving 8 months at Rikers Island. And this is where things get interesting. Rumors suggest that while Wayne was incarcerated, Drake allegedly hooked up with Wayne's then-girlfriend, Tammy Torres. Fast forward to 2015, and TMZ reported that Wayne was so enraged by Drake's actions that he was ready to fight him. Wayne even revealed this incident in a book proposal he sent to publishers, where he described how Drake confessed to him during a prison visit that he had slept with Tammy. Wayne wrote that this was the kind of news no man wants to hear, especially while locked up. He said, "Finding out she messed with Drake was the worst thing I could have discovered." Though Wayne later claimed in an interview with Hip Hop Hollywood that he wasn't holding a grudge, things seem different now.
In the book, there's that part in the book where you say that he came in and told you that he had smashed one of your girls.
Oh, when he
Yes.
I wasn't worried about that. I was just, that's just how life goes when you locked up.
Kendrick Lamar, in his diss track Not Like Us, reignited the drama by calling out Drake for sleeping with Wayne's girl and even mocked Drake for getting a tattoo of Wayne's face in 2017. Fans are now speculating that Lil Wayne might finally be realizing Drake's true nature. Recently, Wayne was spotted wearing an EXO chain, a gift reportedly from the Weeknd. Right after Abel threw some shade at Drake by collaborating with Future and Metro Boomin to stir the pot even further, Abel posted a photo of Wayne wearing the chain on his Instagram story, which many took as a subtle hint that Wayne may have joined the growing anti-Drake sentiment in the industry. But that's not all. Believe it or not, Lil Wayne's DJ played Kendrick Lamar's diss track Not Like Us at one of Wayne's recent shows in Tacoma. Drake's fans are trying to spin it as Wayne mocking Kendrick, but that doesn't really make sense. Why would Wayne remind his audience of how Kendrick dismantled Drake in their rap feud? Kendrick's diss called out Drake for betraying Wayne by sleeping with his girlfriend and then getting Wayne's face tattooed as some sort of twisted apology. That kind of betrayal is hard to ignore, and it seems like Wayne is finally waking up to the fact that Drake doesn't really understand loyalty. And then there's Nicki Minaj. Say what you will about her, but you can't deny that she's always stood by Drake. Even when the entire industry was coming for Drake during his beef with Pusha T, Nicki was the only one who publicly defended him. After Pusha released his track Infrared in May 2018, where he once again accused Drake of using ghostwriters, Nicki stepped up. She argued that with everything Drake had accomplished, he had nothing left to prove. Pusha rapped, "It was written like Nas," but it came from Quentin referring to Quentin Miller, who co-wrote songs on Drake's 2015 mixtape, If You're Reading This. It's too late. That's when Nicki fired back on Twitter saying, "Ninja's gone run that Quentin-ish into the ground. Like Drake hasn't written for himself and others. Your enemies will remix and reinvent some old-ish when they've got nothing on you. Knock it off. Challenging the chosen ones only awakens the sleeping giant." Despite her support, Drake seemed ungrateful, especially when Nicki rejected his romantic advances. It's a pattern with Drake. When Rihanna was still showing interest, Drake publicly praised her and supported her during her troubles with Chris Brown. But the moment Rihanna moved on, Drake reconciled with Chris and even collaborated with him on 2 songs. After that, he started shading Rihanna and her new man, claiming she was just average and that he was never really into her to begin with. It's wild that Drake did the same thing with Nicki. As soon as Nicki made it clear she wasn't interested in him romantically and moved on, Drake started cozying up to her rivals and throwing shade her way. He even collaborated with Meek Mill, despite Nicki hinting that Meek had mistreated her during their relationship. In 2020, Nicki and Meek were caught in a messy social media feud, and at one point, Nicki alluded to Meek's abusive behavior, hinting on her Instagram story that Meek hits women but is scared of men. Meek's former associate Dean even backed up Nicki's claims, recalling incidents where Meek allegedly spit on Nicki during an argument and once locked her out of their house, leaving her stranded in the woods.
Arguing real bad, they get to calling each other all kinds of crazy names. This corny dude starts spitting on. I said, "Yo, you crazy and shit." I told him right then and there, "You lost your fucking mind." What's up with me and Meek, man? Man, I could put her out in the woods. We was all the way out Jersey somewhere in the woods. Nigga put her out the house, it's dark and shit. I had to go out there and get her. She cried right here. Am I lying, Nicki? Ask Meek's sister. She was there, and her baby father. He was there too. Am I lying, y'all? His mom was there. His mom, yo, I ain't lying.
The fact that Drake has stayed silent after years of professing his love for Nicki Minaj, even calling her the love of his life, is pretty disappointing. It highlights how Drake seems to view all of his friendships and relationships as purely transactional. What's interesting is that Nicki still hasn't bad-mouthed Drake publicly, despite everything. However, Drake couldn't resist being shady, which led to rumors of a feud between them. This speculation intensified when Drake removed Nicki's feature from his album For All the Dogs. In July 2023, during his show in Detroit, Drake excitedly announced that Nicki would be featured on the album, calling it their first collaboration in a long time. Meanwhile, Nicki had been promoting Drake's album on her social media for months, building fans' anticipation for her feature.
Cooking this album for you. I'm gonna give away one thing off the album in Detroit tonight because I got a lot of love for Detroit. So I'm gonna have to tell you, like, me and Nicki Minaj did our first song in like a really long time on this side. Got a lot of love for her. Okay, let me just assess the titties tonight and then we'll get to the most.
But when the album finally dropped, Nicki's feature was nowhere to be found. So, what's the deal? It seems that Drake never fully got over Nicki rejecting him, and he's turned bitter, seemingly lashing out at every woman who has rejected him. Nicki seems to have reached her breaking point with Drake. After his collaboration with Latto dropped, Nicki didn't hold back, even going as far as calling Drake ugly boy during a chat with fans on Station Head. She threw major shade, referring to two ugly boys who managed to find a willing participant in a desperate ugly girl.
They know they forever gonna have a willing participant. Because our girls are so desperate for this money, you know. They so desperate. If a mother tell them to go and catch a wild tuna, skin it and eat it, they would do it. You understand what I'm saying? They would teach themselves that very day how to hunt, fish, swim, every mother thing. You see, because they want it so bad they can taste it. And when you taste it, you want it again. But honey child, they ain't finna taste no more.
While calling Lotto ugly might be a bit harsh, fans are backing Nicki, saying she has every right to be upset with Drake. After all, she supported him through all of his drama, while he has only ever looked out for himself. Fans are now saying it's about time Wayne and Nicki distanced themselves from Drake, as he clearly never valued their loyalty. One fan commented, "Drake's gonna end up alone." He didn't appreciate the good people around him and chose to be selfish, cutting off those who cared for him. Now, he's begging for help. But no one's showing up. This is what happens when you try to make everything revolve around yourself. It never works out. Another fan added, Lil Wayne didn't start distancing himself from Drake because Nicki was still on Drake's side, that's his sister. But once Nicki leaves his corner, Drake's done for. What's your take on Lil Wayne and Nicki Minaj apparently cutting ties with Drake after everything they've been through? Do you think they're justified, considering Drake allegedly betrayed them first? Share your thoughts below and stay tuned for the next video.